Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bonding with Ashley. I'm your host, Ashley Bond. Today's episode, I am going to share two things that I no longer do as a woman in my 40s that I used to do when I was younger, and also two things that I still do currently to this day in my 40s that I used to do in my 20s. And all of these things pertain to my overall health, wellness, and connecting with other people. So let's start with the two things that I no longer do. In my 20s, you guys, I used to sacrifice sleep a lot. So, sleep is one thing that I no longer actively choose to sacrifice. When I was in my 20s, I could get away with not sleeping a lot. I also had a lot of energy. It took me a really long time to actually kind of like relax and wind down after the day, especially after dancing at a game. The game wouldn't end until like 9:30, 10. And it took me a while to kind of like relax after the games. And then sometimes I would have to be up super early in the morning for work, for clients, whatever it may be. And I kind of just knew that I was only going to be getting anywhere between 4 to 6 hours of sleep. I don't recommend it, but it just kind of worked out that way. And it was what it was. I no longer can function on very little sleep for that many days in a row. So I have worked really hard to try and find a nighttime routine that helps me relax before I go to sleep. It's still not great, but it's definitely much better. I also don't actively sacrifice my sleep. There are certain times that I just don't have control, whether it's I'm traveling or doing certain things. I know I'm not going to sleep a lot. However, I choose and prioritize things a little bit differently, not to sacrifice or impede my sleep. So, for some people, they might be naturally early risers or people who love waking up first thing and going to the gym or getting their workout in. That is not me. I will do it if I have to. And if I have a goal for something, I will adjust my schedule accordingly. However, I really have no desire to sacrifice my sleep to wake up early to work out. I would rather do that at a different time of day and try and accomplish all my goals without sacrificing my sleep. The second thing that I no longer do that I used to do in my 20s is say yes to everything and every opportunity. In my 20s, there was a purpose for that. I had a great deal of goals. I was out networking. I wanted to meet more people. I wanted to be at every appearance that I could between dancing for the Chicago Bulls, competing for Miss Illinois USA, and holding that title and doing things with that afterward, and also trying to act, host, be more in the entertainment industry. So I chose, for the most part, to say yes to everything. And I really took that time to take advantage of those opportunities. And I never wanted to pass up on something that could turn into something else. Um, you know, I would say if you are in your 20s, I think that's the time to do it, whether it's you want to build your career, you have a goal, you're starting your own business, you have an area that you want to insert yourself in or be a part of, or you want to network. It was great in my 20s. I just no longer feel the need to do that anymore in my 40s. So I will pick and choose a little more accordingly and still feel like I'm out there accomplishing and meeting people and actively working towards all my goals. It's just a little bit different at this stage in my life. I know that I only have so much energy for certain things, and I try really hard not to completely deplete myself. So those are two things that I no longer do in my 40s that I used to do in my 20s. Intentionally sacrifice sleep and say yes to everything. So now going into things that I used to do in my 20s that I still do in my 40s. I guess you could say they're habits or things that I've built into my life. So the first thing is putting myself out there. I want to meet new people, experience new things. You know, as we go through different stages in life, and in order to grow, you have to, I believe, continue to keep putting yourself out there. And there are times where I got invited to events in my 20s, and, you know, most of the time, like, I was allowed to bring somebody with me, and sometimes maybe one of my girlfriends would come with me, but if they couldn't, that's okay. Like, I never let going somewhere alone stop me from going to an event. And I think it's important, if we want to connect with people, that we try really hard to put ourselves out there. And I think for each of us, that may take varying degrees of courage or desire to do that. It is still something that I enjoy, and feeling connected to people and meeting people. And so that is one thing that I still do to this day, is try really hard to put myself out there. The second thing is kind of related to that, but try new things. So I enjoy trying new things. I like taking on new challenges, and I still, to this day, try and find things that maybe I haven't done or that I would like to try. And being the age that I am, I don't let that stop me from trying new things. And I think as we continue to get older, that is something extremely beneficial for the brain, to continue to try new things, and also to help put us out there, because new things and new experiences might bring new connections and new people in our life. So I was invited or signed up to go to a networking event, and the networking event, though, was pickleball. And you guys, have wanted to learn how to play pickleball, but had never played at that time. And it was one of those things where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be good at this. Like, I don't know if this is going to be something that's easy for me to necessarily pick up. But I told myself, I have to go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try something new. And thank goodness, at the networking event, they took a small group of us that had never played before, gave us some, mini lessons and instruction, and then kind of inserted us along with everyone else in the networking opportunity. I still need to get better. On a side note, I have not played since then. It has been quite a while. And it is still something that I would actually like to get better at. So I highly recommend still trying new things. If something excites you or you're curious about something, lean into that and just go and have a good time. It doesn't matter if you're going to be great at it or not. Just go try. So those are the two things that I still do to this day, is put myself out there and try new things. I would love to know what you guys do currently that maybe you did when you were younger. They're habits that you've established. You still do them to this day. And are there any habits that you no longer do that you used to do when you were younger? So let me know. And thank you guys, as always, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you feel like this episode would be relevant or interesting for anybody else, I would love if you shared it with them. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.